Dear teacher and friends, this is my midterm assignment on the Intel course 2015. My name is Khuu and I come from class translation and interpretation. So let me begin my presentation by introducing you my coursework. It is the FCE Gold Plus and I will in charge of Unit 9, A New Look. This is my unit portfolio. My unit portfolio has 5 folders: assessments, student sample, student support, teacher support, and the unit plan. Each of them have several subfolders, which I will talk about more clearly in the later part. And now let's take a look at my unit plan. The unit overview. Like I've just said, my unit is Unit 9, A New Look, and the subject area of this is about common life. The unit is for students who are in grade 12 or B2 level. I will need 3 weeks to finish my unit. Each week we will have 2 class meetings, and each class meeting will last for about 45 minutes. In the Unit 9, A New Look, students will discuss, share opinions, and have more understanding about the appearance and its impacts. Also, they will acknowledge what true beauty is. Students will learn a lot of new useful vocabularies about clothes, fashions, and things in the home. For the grammar points, students learn to use the participle clauses, learn to describe the present and the past habits. In addition, there will be many tasks for them to practice on word formation and gap text. During the progress of studying, there shall be various activities to help my students to understand and apply what they have learned in the unit. One of the main activities that I want them to do is to make a presentation on the essential question of the unit. This presentation will play a role as a reflection, and it will account for their final evaluation, final results. The unit foundation, the targeted content standards and benchmarks for this unit is the Common European Framework for B2 level with 4 skills: listening, reading, speaking, and writing that I believe you have been quite familiar with it. After I finish the Unit 9, I expect my students to have these outcomes. First, for the listening skills, they can identify which nouns or places that the pronouns in the listening text refer back to. For the speaking skills, they can describe the clothes of their own and clothes of the other. They can describe and compare the room as well as the objects in the room using vocabularies related to clothes, fashions, things in the home. Also, they can use the phrasal verbs with up. For reading, they will have the ability to do the gap text and word formation tasks using the grammar points that I have taught them about the present and the past habits. They will use be used to or get used to. My student can know the form and the uses of the reduced relative clauses. Last but not least, I expect my student to have at least 3 21st century skills that are making a professional presentation, conducting a survey using Google Docs and team working. The curriculum framing questions, we have the essential question, unit questions, and content questions. Essential question is that, are look more important than personality? With this question, my student will do the presentation. Unit question, we have, does fashion play a critical role in life? Do you want to have any cosmetic surgeries? Are good-looking people more socially acceptable than those who aren't so attractive? Content questions, we have 3. How can you describe an event in the past in English? Can you name 10 vocabularies that relate to your clothes or the object in your home? How do you make a presentation? So this is the curriculum framing question. Now we move on to the assessment plan. This is my assessment timeline in which I briefly listed all the assignments, all the tasks and the work that my student will do during studying with me. Before the project begins, my student will do the brainstorming, the questioning, the discussion. Then the presentation scoring guide will be given to them. I also require my students to write a learning journal after every class meeting. The group conference in week number 2 and week number 3, I will meet briefly with each group of students and give them some useful advices for the presentation later. In the process of the project, my student will do an online survey made by me on the Google Docs site. They will continue to do the questioning, the discussion, journal writing, group conferencing, and the propaganda presentation checklist and rubric will be made and will be done for them. After the project is completed, they will do again the questioning, the discussion, and the most important task is to make a presentation. They will deliver their presentation in front of the class in group of 4 to 6 members. And during their presentation, me, the teacher, will make the anecdotal observations and their friends from other group will make the feedback. After they have finished all the assignments and tasks, the feedbacks, the journals, and together with my anecdotal observations will account for the final result. Instructional procedure. To prepare for the unit, firstly, my student needs to read through the coursebook FCE Ngoc Plus Unit 9 a new look to get the gist of the lesson. Then they divide themselves in groups of 4 to 6 members. Like I've said before, my unit lasts for 3 weeks, and each week we have 2 class meetings. So in the first week, I will spend the first class meeting introducing the unit to my class, provide my students with essential materials, introduce them to the tasks that they will do during the unit, such as the discussion, presentation, feedback, survey, journal. I will let them discuss among the groups and among class about the aims that they want to achieve, as well as the disadvantages that they may come up with during the process of studying. This is a kind of making the checklist and goals. Finally, I will remind them to write the learning journal after every class meeting for me. The second class meeting of week number 1. It's time for us to study, and we teach them the vocabulary and speaking. In this class meeting, they will do the online survey on the Google Docs site. And the survey will have 4 questions. And the most important question, the essential question of the unit, will be included on the survey. In week number 2, they will study reading and grammar points. The first class meeting is for reading. When doing activity 1 and 2, I will let my students discuss with one another about the people in the pictures and read the title, the subheading, and the main parts of the article. In activity 3, I let my students work in pairs to analyze the text. In activity 5, they will take in a selection of Hello and OK type magazines. Students could look through these to choose the facial features that they want to create to make an ideal face. This activity is a time for them to have some relaxation during the process of studying. The second class meeting is for grammars. We have 3 grammar points in the unit, and it's for 3 activities. For activity 1, they will describe the present and the past events after my lecture about present and past tenses. In activity 2, they will learn the form and the uses of the reduced relative clauses. In activity 3, they learn how to use phrasal verbs with up, and they will do some word formation and gap text. In this class meeting, I will make the anecdotal observation for each student. Week number 3, this is the most important week because they will do the presentation. So in the first class meeting, I will instruct my students to make a presentation on the essential question. I will also provide them with the propaganda presentation checklist and rubric. Second class meeting of week number 3, the due day. Each group of students will present a 20-minute presentation in front of the class. I will record it and I will post it on the class page for other groups to make the comments and to have a chance to carefully make the feedback. And me, the teacher, I will also do the anecdotal observation. At the end of the course, students submit all their paper, including the feedback forms, the journals, to me. And I will mark the paper and up the result on the M-Learning site. So this is all the things that included in my unit plan. Now we move on to the assessment file, the assessment folders. The assessment folder had 3 sub-files on it. The 21st century skill assessment. This is the skill that I want my student to get acquainted and can use it quite well later in their work, later in their life. This is the accountability, responsibility, problem-solving skill, communication skills, communication skill, and finally, the critical thinking skill. Assessment to foster self-direction and other assessments. This is the way I will give bonus and I will give extra mark on the students who are eagerly and enthusiastically contribute to the class activity. This is the rubric for the goal oral presentation assessment. I will give it to my student and will let them do it as a feedback form. Student sample. In this folder, I will include all the sample for all of the activity or the assignment that I want my student to do. They look at it and they will do their work simpler, easier, without any confusion. So we have the feedback form. We have the online survey in the Google Docs site with the 4 questions. We have the learning journal. Okay. So it's about the presentation. I also make a sample presentation with a couple of slides to let my student get the gist of the assignment that they will do. Just a couple of simple slides. So that's all about the student sample. Now we move on to the student support. On the student support folder, we have the course book, FCE Gom Plus student book with the CD and the PDF file. I will support my student on how to conduct a presentation by giving them a full version, a complete presentation. How to evaluate a presentation. I give them the 5 words to read on the evaluate for your presentation, 4 rules for multimedia presentation, and how to evaluate an oral presentation. How to make a feedback paper. I also have the sample feedback paper and some picture. My student will have a video clip of the instruction on how to make a survey on the Google Doc and also on how to do the survey on Google Doc site. This video is very carefully made, step by step. How to write a journal. It will include a sample learning journal and some picture of the learning journal. Finally, the teacher support. In this folder, I have 2 subfolders, conducting a survey on Google Doc and the FCE Gom Plus teacher book. I have the video clip which help me to create the online Google Doc survey on how to deal with the database. And the teacher book, I have all the answer keys for teaching. So this is the end of my presentation. Thank you for your wonderful attention.